Hey everybody, welcome back for another part in the series of Disaster Preparedness series. In this video, we're going to talk about the disaster plan, your family disaster plan, what to put in your plan, how to create your plan, and whatnot. Basically, when you talk about disaster plans, they come in two forms. It's what you see most, two styles. And you have a disaster specific plan, and then you have what's called a needs-based plan. Your disaster-specific plan is just what it means. It's how do you prepare for a specific disaster, such as a tornado, a pandemic, a hurricane. Each individual disaster has its own response procedures and response plans in it. And then you have a needs-based plan, which is basically how you're going to preserve your life functions and so forth. I use kind of a combination of both personally. I'm not saying that one's better than the other. It's your personal preference. I use a combination of both and can kind of combine an all hazards approach to my plans. Big thing you want to do is keep your plans simple. Now, I've seen some plans that have just drawn out, I mean just massive plans. I'm talking hundreds of pages. Now granted, most of these plans are for businesses, but I've seen some family plans that are just numerous pages, lots and lots of pages. Do this, do that, do this. In an emergency or in a disaster, your stress level is going to be way up here. Everybody's is. It's just what's going to happen. And in my personal opinion, you don't have the time to go flipping through. Okay, it's a tornado. I got to find tornado. Okay, flip the tornado. What am I going to do? Let's do this, and this for the tornado. You're not going to have time to do that. Is your wife going to want to do that, or your spouse? Or what about your child? Can your child go in and flip through the plan? So you got to make it simple. Keep it simple as you can. That's why I kind of use a combination of both. Now, for the disaster-specific plans, they usually start out with what's called a threat assessment. Now, a threat assessment is basically you go through and you pick out the threats that you are most likely to see in your area, or the most likely things that you want to put in your plan, you want to plan for, such as a tornado, such as a pandemic, a hurricane, snow, wildfires, etc., etc. And then through a series of other things, looking up the probabilities of how those occur, and a series of calculations, you figure out your risk and how likely you are to be affected by that particular incident, and that's how you're going to prepare for it. Now, for example, snow and ice is a big thing down here that I need to kind of be prepared for. We don't get a whole lot of snow in the south, but the ice we do. Ice, that's going to affect me a lot, because that's one of those things that we just don't prepare for a lot. Anyway, as an example. So anyway, what you need to do is think about those things. We'll talk about disaster-specific plans in another video, because what I'm going to have to do is I'll have to show you how it's done in order for you to fully understand it, because there's a chart that you have to do. There's other procedures, and like I said, through a series of calculations, you can figure it out. It's not hard, but I want to be able to show you instead of just sit here and tell you. I want to show you as I'm telling you, so that's going to be in another video. I'll just do that now. I'll tell you that. Alright, that's disaster-specific plans. Let's talk about your needs-based plan, which, like I said, I like to combine a combination of both plans. Your needs-based plan needs to accomplish several things. It needs to accomplish things like how are you going to protect your family, where are you going to meet, how are you going to provide your food, your shelter, stuff like that, how are you going to stay informed, and what happens. Other things you need to put in your plan. Where is your family going to meet? What about just a local, just your house is on fire? Everybody get out of the house. Where are you going to meet? You need to have a plan for that. Step up from there. You can't get into your neighborhood or your particular area. Where are you going to meet then? and then another location. Where are you going to meet if you can't meet there? Always have at least 3 different locations that you can meet. One immediately outside your house, the next one immediately into the vicinity, and then the next one may be a bug out location or somewhere else. What are you going to do if you can't come home? Do your vehicles have bags in them that you're prepared with? Another thing you need to think about. Do you have maps of your area? Do you have at least 3 different locations you can go to and at least 3 different routes to get to each of those locations? Does your wife know how to get to all those locations? Do you know how to get to all those locations? Do you have maps? You need to have the maps. You need to draw it out on the maps. Know the choke points. And what I mean by a choke point is there a particular intersection around your area, traffic intersection, that gets really busy during certain times of the day? I've noticed that a lot recently around my area. It's starting to get more built up out in the suburbs and where I live, and there's several areas that didn't used to be choke points that now are choke points. Other things you need to put in your plan or in your binder. Now what I do, I'm kind of get off track just a hair. What I do is I put everything in a red binder. This way, this is the emergency binder. Everything's in here. Stuff, the plan itself. Other things like important documents. You need to have copies of your marriage licenses, your social security cards, immunization records, insurance plans, credit cards, all that stuff. You need to have copies of all that stuff in your kit or in your plan, and also on a thumb drive or something. If you can put it on a thumb drive and have it with you, and have it also in a location to where it's not going to get damaged or it's not going to get lost. Other things you can do that you need to do. Inventory your possessions. Go through with a video camera or just a still camera. Inventory what you have. That's going to come in handy when it comes to filing an insurance claim. So go through your house with a video camera if you got one. Take pictures of everything, or like I said, still camera. Take pictures. Video it. Your serial numbers are important. Sales receipts. All that stuff is important, especially for your high dollar items, your big TVs, your computers, your stuff like that. Put all that in your plan. Other things to put in your plan. List of contacts. Your friends, your neighbors, your relatives. You need to have relatives or friends in your area that you can contact in the event of an emergency, that at least tell everybody, hey, I'm okay, we're going here. Also, you need to have somebody out of state. That's a big thing. Like I said before, disasters aren't always wide-scale disasters. It can happen locally, just to your area, and your state may not be affected, but you may have to go a couple of counties over, or you may have to go out of state if it gets to be a statewide. So you need to call and be able to contact somebody out of state to let them know that you're okay. There's all kind of other media things you can use nowadays: Facebook, Twitter, stuff like that. A lot of people use that sort of thing for communicating. That's excellent ways to communicate. Have that in your plan to know that, okay, if an incident occurs, we need to get on Facebook, we need to put this on there, we need to call this person. That all goes into your plan. Other things that need to go in your plan. What are you going to do about your pets? Do you have pets? What about special needs individuals? Do you have somebody in your household that has special needs? The elderly. What are you going to do about them? That needs to go in your plan. You need to work on that and have that in there. Talk about communication a little bit. Again, a lot of times, or it has been in the past, if cell phone towers go down, texting, you can usually text. That's been a case in previous incidences, because from what I'm told, I'm not a big communications guru, but from what I'm told, texting is on a separate tower or something. Like I said, I'm not a big communications guy, so somebody out there that knows a lot more than I do about that, feel free to chime in. But that's what I've been told. So we got your evacuation plan covered. And know about, when you put in your evacuation plan, what about bridges that are prone to flooding, that's over those routes that you need to travel? Think about that. We already talked about the choke points. What about your kids' school? If you have kids, an incident occurs, Does your kid's school have a plan? Most of the time they do. But are you going to be able to get your kid out of that school if an incident happens? I know with my kid's school, every year they send, at the beginning of the year, we fill out a form that says, in the event of inclement weather or an emergency, how will your child be picked up? Or are they going to ride the bus home? You're going to come pick them up, so on and so forth. Know your school plan, because the last thing you want to do if you have kids is to be separated from those kids knowing that you're not there, because that is your ultimate goal. As whether you're the father and the head of the household, whether you're the mother and you're the head of the household, whatever the case may be, it is your ultimate goal to make sure that your family is protected at all times, and you have to know where those people are. I think that's one of the things that kind of scares me the most, is knowing that an incident can occur and I may not be able to get to my family. Because if you can get to your family and everybody's together and you know everybody's safe, then you can go from there. A couple of little quick things to put in your plans. What about utility shutoffs? Do you have gas or in your house? Electric? Of course, everybody's got electricity, right? What about water? Does everybody in your household know how to shut off those things? Does people know where the panel box is? Shut off the power. What about the main water disconnect to the house? Gas. You need to know how to shut off those utilities. Put that in your plan. And some of the other things is keep your vehicle fueled at all times. I know it's kind of hard. I'm guilty of this all the time, not keeping my vehicle at least half full all the time. Most of us are. Keep your vehicle full. I said, put all that stuff in your, type it all up, put it all in a binder, keep it all together, keep it to where everybody knows where it is and everybody can look at it at all times and everybody can have it. Practice, practice, practice with your plan. I can't stress that enough. Cut your power off one night and go through your plans for a power outage and see how your family reacts. Stuff like that. Because the last thing you want is an incident to occur and you've got all this stuff wrote down and documented and how it's supposed to be, but nobody knows but you. Everybody in your family has to be involved in it, and I know that's hard. That's been the hardest thing for me, to get my family on board. The kids are on board, sure, fine, but sometimes spouses can be a problem. Or not really a problem, but sometimes they can be, they need to be coerced and helped along a little bit. So I know this video has kind of ran a little long, but I'm trying to keep these videos short as I can, but give you the information that you need to prepare. So this has been the video on your plan. Another video, we're going to talk about some other things. Now, like I said before, I'm not the end-all expert on this, so if you have other suggestions, please feel free to chime in, leave a comment, PM me, or whatnot, and we'll go from there. Until next time, y'all take care, and I appreciate your views and your comments.